Let me just quickly check. Those who are present, can you type in a yes if you can see me, hear me? So those who are there, just type in a yes or a hello in the chat probably so that I can see you. Okay. Hi Rachit. Great. So yeah, so I think we are live. So let's take up today's problem and we can start from there. It's a relatively easy problem. So like I hope some of you did give it a try. How many of you were able to solve it? Were you able to solve the problem already? Just type in a yes if that was the case. Okay, solved using stack. Okay, solved. Okay, makes sense. Brute force only. Okay, yeah. So we'll see the different approaches that are possible, right? So let's quickly look at the problem. Problem says we are given two strings with us, S and T, right? I think the font is very less. Let me just increase it. So yeah, given two strings S and T, you want to check if they are the same after typing into the editor, right? One more special character is given, which is hash. Hash means you are doing a backspace. So as an example, A B hash C. So what will happen? You will type A, you will type B, then when it's hash, you will remove B, and then you will type in C. So essentially, this is equivalent to AC. Does this make sense? What is happening with this hash? Just removing the last typed character. Yes or no? Everyone? ये समझ में आ रहा है कि हैश से क्या हो रहा है? जस्ट लास्ट जो टाइप्ड कैरेक्टर था दैट इज गेटिंग रिमूव्ड. ओके, ग्रेट. सो वी नीड टू चेक इफ द टू स्ट्रिंग्स आफ्टर टाइपिंग बिकम द सेम. ठीक है. सो एनी इनिशियल थॉट्स हाउ वी कैन सॉल्व दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम? क्या क्या डिफरेंट वेज हो सकते हैं टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम? Anyone tried stack first? Okay, stack makes sense. Tried through two pointers. Okay, that also makes sense. Push whenever character, pop whenever this. Maybe have two pointers and iterate. Okay, okay. First and foremost, the most basic idea here could be to generate the two strings. Yes or no? है ना? Like let's find what the two strings would be after incorporating the backspace, right? So let's calculate what the particular string would be and check if they are equal or not. Yes or no? So whenever you are asked a brute force in an interview, you don't need to directly jump on and say, okay, we'll use stack, we'll use two pointers. You have to give a plain English approach, right? So plain English approach of this would be to generate the two strings and then compare if they are same or not. Yes or no? Now, to generate the two strings, we will have different options. So one of the options that clearly exists goes something like this. So let's say we have a string like this. Okay. So what will the result be if we have ABC double hash D? What will the result be? AD, just AD, because ABC one hash removes this C, one hash removes this B, and then we get AD, right? So one simple way could be, let's run a backward loop and start collecting our characters. So I'll run a simple backward loop. I get a D. So D needs to be there. Then I get a hash. So I can count that okay, there is one character that I want to remove. I get another hash. So count becomes 2. I want to remove two characters now. C comes, it's a character, so I will decrease the count 1. B comes again, it's a character, decrease the count to 0. When it's 0, when there are no hashes to be incorporated, the next character that I get, that I need to take in my string. Is this idea making sense? That run a backward loop, keep collecting your characters. When you get hash, just keep a count of it. If the count of hash whenever you arrive at a character is more than 0, that means this character will be taken away by the hash and I can do minus minus. ये idea समझ में आ रहा है क्या? How with a backward loop we can calculate this string, what the result would be. Everyone? Yes, no? So running a backward loop, counting the hash. If we arrive at a character, the number of hashes are greater than 0, then that character would be taken away by one of the hash. So we can simply do count minus minus. Otherwise, if count was 0, we can take that string, take that character in a way. Okay. So one simple idea. What would be the time complexity of this? One backward loop, so O of n. Also space will also be O of n. Is this idea making sense? Ki how we can simply run a backward loop and solve our problem? Yes, no? सब लोग? एक और केस लेता हूँ. I am not getting a lot of yeses. So for example, we have this, right? C hash T E hash. We start from here, we count. There is one hash. So next character that you get, you make hash 0. So count is 0. Now when you arrive at D, count is 0, so you need to take it. Again a hash, count becomes 1. Character, count becomes 0. Hash, count becomes 1. Character, hash, count becomes 0. A, character, count is 0, so you keep it. So again AD. So it works for all the cases, right? Because it's a simple backward loop. So with this idea, we can generate the two strings actual values and compare it. Yes or no? Okay. So this could be one idea to generate the string values. Second idea could be to use something known as a stack. So how many of you are already aware of stack data structure? Yes, no? कितने लोग stack data structure they already know? Okay. So what happens in stack? We have two operations, push, pop, right? So how does pop work in stack? It pops out the last pushed element. Yes or no? Last pushed element is popped out. So what we can do, because hash is like removing the last typed element, right? So it is equivalent to pop. So what we can do, whenever we get a character, we put it in the stack. A is put in stack, B is put in stack, we get a hash, we get pop. Then C is put in hash, put in the stack. Then we get a hash, again pop. Then D is put into the stack, E is also put into the stack. We get a hash and we can pop. So finally we get this AD. Does this second idea also make sense? The stack based idea to calculate the string at the end. Yes or no? Same can be done with vector, pushback, popback. हाँ, वो तो like stack can always be implemented via vector, right? So that is perfectly fine. Okay. Great. I think we can code this out quickly. Then we'll improve on to a better solution probably. So what we can do, let me go back to my code screen. Let's create a simple function which returns us a calculated string, right? I'll take the first idea, not the stack idea, because the first idea is relatively simpler, right? So I'll create an empty string for now, which is the answer. I'll iterate from s dot size minus 1, I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus. Let me just increase the size a little bit. And yeah, we need not even create a string, just use two stacks and check if the popped element are same or not. We'll talk about that as well, right? But simply saying, let's create a simple answer, run a backward loop. Let's also have a count variable, which is number of hashes as of now. So count equal to 0. So if we get a hash, which is a backspace, we'll do count plus plus. Otherwise, if count is 0 as of now, that means all the hashes have been incorporated and this is a new character. We want to take it into the string. Otherwise, we would just do count minus minus. Does this make sense? Yes or no? So run a backward loop. If you get hash, just do count plus plus. If you don't get hash, then do count minus minus. But before doing count minus minus, check if count was already 0, that means this is a new character which is not cancelled by a hash, and we can do answer plus equal to s of I, right? So the answer will be in reverse order. So finally we would reverse this answer array and return it. So just to show you an example, let's say if we had a b hash c d hash hash. So what would happen? We'll run a backward loop. We get a hash, count plus plus, count becomes 1. Another hash, count becomes 2. Character, count is 2, so we'll do minus minus, so 1. Again C, it becomes 0. We get a hash, count plus plus, count becomes 1. Again a character, count minus minus, 0. Finally, when we arrive here, count is 0 and we'll add it to the string. So simple idea, backward loop that gets you the direct answer, right? Okay. Great. So here what we can simply do, we can return get string s equal to get string t. Right? If the string that we get from both the functions, if they are same, then we are good to go. So let's just run this as well. Yeah, it passes. I think submit will also pass. Okay. So simple get string function, running a backward loop and finding the string. Right. Tell me one thing. What is the space complexity of this idea? Everyone? Space complexity of this idea? What is the space complexity of this particular idea? We are creating a new string. So O of n, right. Time is also O of n. So time is fine, but can I improve the space further? Can I improve it better than O of n? So Rachit was testing one more approach that we do not need to create the string. Let's just create the stacks and compare the two stacks. So answer is right. We can do that as well. But Rachit again, that will also be space O of n, right? Do you agree? Space O of n because we are taking stack. Okay. My question is, can we further improve space? Can we not even take a stack or an extra string, right? Without anything. can we do this question? So anyone has any idea? कैसे कर सकते हैं? Two pointers. Yes, two pointers. Let's see how. So let's say we have a string A, B, C, hash, hash, D, right? Here we have A, B, D, C, and hash. Okay. So we can start looking for the last character in the string that would have been present. So if you look at even this string, last character, what was the last character that will be there in the string? So if we start running from here, hash cancels with E, D is the last character that would be there in the string. So same idea यहाँ पे. We start from here, we find the last character that would be there in the string. So we start from here, D would be there in the string, in the first string. Okay. Can you tell me, will C be the last character of the second string? Is C going to be the last character of second string? No, right? C will get cancelled with this hash. So what will be the last character? This D. And it matches. Do you agree? It matches. So last character of S matches with the last character of D. Right? Let's go one step back. So there are two hashes. What is the next character? A. Here also, what is the next character? B. What do you think? Does it matches? No. So answer will be no. Had there been a hash here, so this hash would cancel this B and we would say match. Does the idea make sense? So I have two pointers at the end. Find the last characters of each of them which match, which would be there in the string, right? If they don't match, directly return false, right? If they match, then find the next set. Does the idea make sense? How two pointers will work? Basically, last se chalke, we'll find those characters that would be there in the string and compare while on the fly. Everyone, yes, no? The idea of two pointers running from the ends. What does everyone think? Okay. Let's quickly go ahead and check the code for this as well. How would we write it? So let me go to the code. So I'll just comment this out. I'll not remove the function to keep the other function as well. So I need two pointers, I and j. I would be at the end of s, j would be at end of t. Do you agree? Yes or no? Now let's forget about what the condition here would be. But I want to simply run an infinite loop where from the end I find the first characters that would be present in the string. So what I'll do, I'll make a count 1 as 0. I'll say while I is greater than equal to 0, I is a valid part of my S string, and whenever S of I या तो S of I is equal to hash or my count 1 is greater than 0. So either I have some hashes to cancel out or I get a new hash. I'll need to continue with this loop. So what I'll do, if my S of I is hash, then I'll do count plus plus, count 1 plus plus. Otherwise I'll do count 1 minus minus. Do you get the idea? So start from the end. If you keep on getting hash, we need to go back. Or if you have some hashes already and they have not been cancelled out, that is, if count 1 has not become 0, then also you need to keep on going back. So either of these two conditions, if they are true, then you need to keep on going back. So if you get a hash, do count plus plus. If you don't get a hash and get a character, cancel one of the hashes. Finally, the I that you arrive at would be the one which is the character which is going to be there in the string. So एक example ले लेता हूँ just to be sure. So for example, let's say we have abcd hash hash e hash, right? So what will happen? I'll start from the back, which is I at this point. I'll check s of I is equal to hash. So I need to go inside the loop. So if s of I is equal to hash, count 1 becomes plus plus. So count 1 becomes 1. Now I arrive here. S of I is not equal to hash, but count 1 is more than 0. That is, there is a hash which was there, which is not yet cancelled out. So I will cancel this. So I'll go count minus minus, count becomes 0. And I go one step even back. By the way, we have not written one step back, so let's do that. So I minus minus. Now again S of I is hash, so plus plus and back. Again S of I is hash plus plus, so count becomes 2, back. D gets cancelled, count becomes 1, back. C gets cancelled, count becomes 0, back. Finally, you arrive at a character B, where neither it is a hash nor the count is greater than 0, and you can exit the loop at this B. ये समझ में आ रहा है how it is going back to the first character which would actually be present, and that value will be stored in this I. Yes or no, everyone? How this loop is working? Till you keep finding a hash, or till you have some characters that have not yet been cancelled in terms of hash, then you need to continue back. Okay. Similar loop will write for j. So I'll do count 2 also as 0 and just copy it. By the way, generally it's not a very good idea to copy codes like this, but here since everything is wrapped up, so I am copy pasting. So here we'll say while j greater than equal to 0, t of j, either t of j is hash or count 2 is greater than 0. If s of j, sorry, t of j is equal to hash, do count 2 plus plus, otherwise do count 2 minus minus and do j minus minus, right? What is it that you have written, Rachit? If I is greater than 0 and at j greater than 0, s of character I return false. Yes, yes. So now we have found the I, we have found the j, which we want to compare, right? यहाँ तक सबको समझ में आ रहा है क्या कि this whole loop, what it does, it finds the last character which we want to keep in the string. Yes or no? So last character of s that we want to keep in the string, last character of t that we want to keep in the string. So if these two last character do not match, then the answer is already false. So first I'll check, has I become less than 0 and j has also become less than 0. What to return in this case? If both I and j have exhausted, let's say while finding the character, I exit the string. And while finding the character in j also, I exit the string. Both of them have exited. I less than 0 and j less than 0. Return true because it's like empty. There is no more character left. So return true. Otherwise, if one of them have become less than 0, then you return false. That means one of the string is over, the other string is not over. So as an example, if let's say s was abc while t was, let's say, d hash hash. So in this case, while going back, you will exhaust t, like d will cancel out with this hash and you will be at -1. Whereas here you will be at 3. So if one of them is negative but the other is not, then you return false, saying that okay, we found one character in one of them but not in the other one. this idea. This idea is if both of them exhausted. So as an example, this also will exhaust, this also will exhaust, both of them will be empty. So we have to return true. Last, if both of them are valid character, then we'll check if s of I is not equal to s of t of j, then also return false. And finally do I minus minus and j minus minus to move on to find the next character. Does this idea make sense? So basically, two pointers from both ends, finding the character that we want to compare repeatedly for both I and j. If both the string exhaust, return true. If one of them exhausts, return false. If the character do not match, return false. Otherwise, they match and you find the next character. Doing I minus minus, j minus minus. So probably let's just run this. Oh, it will say that you have not returned a value. Although this one doesn't matter because, okay, it did not say that. And I think we can submit it also and it will work. Right. So do check the code out and see if you make sense out of it. Right. So two pointers from both ends, and that is how we are proceeding with it. How many of you are able to get it? Can I get a yes or no? The two pointers approach from both ends, from the end for both the strings. Okay, perfect. किसी को कुछ डाउट आ रहा है इसमें? प्लीज प्लीज आस्क. जिनको क्लियर है व्हाट इज द टाइम एंड स्पेस? So time is O of n because it's a backward loop. Space becomes O of 1 because we are not taking any extra space. Yes or no? So O of 1. So space यहाँ पे we were able to reduce further. Great. So that is the entire question. You can solve it out. Anyone having any questions, any doubt, please feel free to ask. Others who got it, do like and subscribe to the channel if you have not, and join our community group for daily discussions, right? Okay. Any questions, anyone regarding this? Please ask. Let me know. Can you please check my approach once where I was going wrong? Sure, go ahead, send the code. I'll check it out. So you were using two pointers only, Rachit? Maybe you can send me on WhatsApp as well. So I'll check it out there as well. Okay, great. Great, everyone. Okay, then, good night. See you tomorrow for solving new problems. Try to get some of your friends. The attendance has been consistently low. So if you have some of the friends who will be also doing coding, feel free to get them to the channel, right? Great. Bye bye.